Welcome to WTF, Walk the Floors, All Things Hospitality Training, and this is a special episode as we remember what happened during October 1st in 2017 when the Las Vegas community and the entire country and the world was impacted by the greatest shooting massacre in the history of the United States. And we are here today at the Healing Gardens and bringing some of those memories back, not happy memories obviously, but we want to talk about how the hospitality industry was impacted by it, and also how the hospitality industry and community in Las Vegas came together as we dealt with this horrific event. Stephanie, how are you today?
Great, thank you for bringing me here. So when we were driving here, I did a little bit more research to knowing some facts of, this area opened up as a memorial just a few days after, on October 6th, and it has 58 trees that were donated from Siegfried and Roy, and then from there they added on the community with the colorful rocks and different pieces of art and tile to really being able to make it as a healing community center for anyone that wants to come in and be able to reflect, but then also having that peaceful garden.
So I'll tell you a bit about what I can remember. I was an operator at the time, and I had several properties under my leadership in the Las Vegas area, and I never ever turned my cell phone off. Now, this night in particular, my phone was going through an update. So when you're updating your phone, it shuts off. And my team was trained in a way where they knew that if there was ever an emergency, they would call and call and call until I was able to pick up. So what happened that night was I received a call from one of my operators through my husband's phone. So the minute that I received that call through my husband's phone, I knew that something was really, really wrong. If someone was, entering into my private life to make sure that they got a hold of me, it was something really bad that happened. And there was my director of housekeeping and EVS for one of the large properties here in town on the other side of the phone who asked me, "Are you sitting?" And I said, "Yes, what's going on?" And she said, "Turn the TV on." And I turned the TV on and I saw what was happening, and obviously I had no words. Mm-hmm. But my immediate reaction as an operator and how we're trained in the industry was to immediately jump in and try to understand, where is our team at? How are we doing? Do we have a count? And what's going on? So we had a lengthy conversation, immediately went on to some calls with executives on property on a corporate level to see how do we troubleshoot on this. There is, we have fire drills and we do several drills in the industry to prepare us to deal with specific situations, but there is absolutely no preparation for a situation like this one. And I can tell you that when I was able to finally come into the properties, allowed access into the properties, and as being responsible for the EVS departments, which equals a public areas department, going in through the casino floor and the public spaces and the outskirts of the properties, you could see that something really bad had happened. There were wallets on the floor, there were shoes, people had lost their shoes as they were running. We had team members who locked themselves in janitor closets in the public bathrooms because they at that point nobody knew where this was coming from, and nobody knew if they were in jeopardy wherever it is that they were in. Obviously the radios were blasting, and it was really terrifying. And I think that without going too much into detail as to what that looked like, it was a moment that, number one, we all reshaped the way we do business. We reshaped the way we do business in the following sense. We We started injecting panic buttons into the room so the GRAs could have those handy when they would see something that was out of line. We had to reevaluate the way that we have our manuals, our safety manuals written, so that when there is a situation like this one, that everyone knew exactly what to do and where to go. And the number one concern for a leader in operations is team members leaving the property. Because again, at this point, we didn't know if the risk was inside, was it outside, and at that point, we all feel like if we have specific areas in the back of the house that can be locked down, so our team members are safe there, we can safe keep them there. So it was truly a one of those moments in life that will trigger for things to not only be reevaluated, but also the entire community came together. Years later, I was assigned at a property that was right next door from where the arena was, where the concert was being held. And I, at that point, 2 years later, I was in human resources. And in preparation for this day to come, we were really talking with team members, and they would come to the office and talk to us, and how still 2 years later they were shaken up by what had happened, what they could remember of bringing guests, not really guests, it was like people that were at the concert that were injured, bringing them into the property, locking the doors after them, and then people trying to enter, so letting them in as well, just to get them out of literally the line of fire. Mm-hmm. And how it not only impacted those who were part of the actual concert that night, but also our first responders, our entire community, all the way from the number one in command in the police department to our Vegas Golden Knights, our hockey team here in town. They really leaned in to support the community in such a way where it was heartfelt, right? It was such a sad moment, but at the same time a moment where everyone became one. And I think that Las Vegas will never be the same since then. We will always remember this event, and I strongly believe that our team members were very marked by this event, and how things, those sad moments that you carry with you, whether it is because you were there, whether it is because you had someone that you knew that lost their life during the concert, or because you were helping others in the process. Mm-hmm. And in our properties, we decided to obviously provide our team members with counseling months after, and the amount of damage control that we had to do as leaders throughout the weeks, week over week, from team members that probably had nothing to do with anyone that was affected by it, but it was enough for them to be shaken up by the actual incident.
Wow. And I can speak also, experience in New York, where you're saying even years later, and, working with employees, and still 15, 20 years later, and still talking about, the unfortunate events that they've had to go through. But then also too, as a hospitality community, of now looking at our books in different cities to seeing, what procedures that we have in place, and making sure of training in case another unfortunate situation happens, that the team knows exactly what they need to do.
Absolutely. One of the things that I can recall that also marked the way we do business was we do well checks when there is a do not disturb sign in the room. For those of you who are not in the industry, that are on the other side of the podcast or the screen, knowing that there is a reason behind the fact that even if you have a do not disturb sign on your door during your stay, we have to go in and check, and training our team members to look for specific things inside the room. The police department in Las Vegas put a task force in place that would go hotel by hotel, making sure that the team members had been properly trained on how to spot those things. How do you spot heavy equipment in the room? How do you spot, is there, how do you know if there's a bomb in the room, right? And what do you do after that? Who do you call and how do you proceed? So most definitely an event that marked the way we do business, not just the hearts of everyone who was affected by this.
Yes, absolutely.
So thank you so much for being on the other side. Never forget, we still carry the burden of 9/11. We will never forget. This is one of those other unfortunate events that we will take with us forever and we will never forget. So Stephanie, do you want us to do a quick paint of what this beautiful place looks like in memory of those?
Absolutely, and we'll add on then the videotaping for it.
Sounds good.
Now stay tuned to see around the Las Vegas Healing Garden. If you are listening, you may see it on our YouTube channel as well.